Hey folks, how you doing? This program is being brought to you by Leafly. Leafly is a website and mobile app focused on cannabis education and responsible consumption. Leafly has a comprehensible database of cannabis strains that is one of the largest I've ever seen in my entire life. Each strain has a detailed description and a photo so you know exactly what you're getting. Leafly lets you know the strains that are trending in your area. There is cannabis news and more. So if you're trying to find your favorite strain, if you're trying to find a dispensary near you, or you just want to catch up on all the latest cannabis news, Leafly is the app for you. I know it is for me. So get Leafly and get educated about cannabis. Leafly, what are you smoking? Hey folks, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Deron Harris. Welcome to the Deron Harris podcast, episode 4. Today, we are going to be talking about the great American resignation. What's happening in America, man? I ask people every day. Nobody really seems to know. I kind of do know, and I'm going to share my thoughts on that today. It's deep-rooted, man. It's deep-rooted. It's something that's been happening in the country. It's something that's been going to happen in the country for quite some time. And it's about time that it happened. You know, I'm almost kind of on board with it. You know, I mean, my perspective is different, of course, because, you know, I come from the employment standpoint, not the employer standpoint. So, that's what we're talking about today is the Great American Resignation. Again, thank you very much. It's crazy today, man. I mean, we're going to be talking about who's quitting, why they're quitting, and what people are doing after they quit. You know, what are we going to do? What are we going to be doing? I want to give a quick, fast shout out to the dog, my Great Dane, for leaving the biggest, wettest pile of dog shit in the living room when I woke up this morning. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Shout out to the other 2 dogs for laughing at me. But on a real note, though, shout out to Denzel Washington. Really, I really want to shout Denzel Washington out because this guy is just a class act. Because I really love what he had to say to everyone about the Will Smith drama, as far as the Oscars is concerned, which I'm sure the entire earth has heard about it by now. But he basically told everybody, "Who are we to pass judgment?" You know, and that's real, man. Who are we to pass judgment on another person? I mean, I get all kinds of people, oh, he's this and he's that and such and this and that, man. I don't want to tell people to just shut up, but I think that people need to sweep their own porch before they start, you know, going to try to sweep in other people's porches. You know, tend to your own crops, man. You know what I mean? Everybody's got issues. Everybody's got problems, and nobody's perfect. Will Smith is not a perfect person. And I think people are expecting him, just because he's in the platform that he's in, to be that perfect person. And he's not, man. He's a man just like the rest of everybody else. So everybody who sits up on their high horse and they cast, you know, their nose down at this gentleman, take a look back at some of the bullshit that you did in your life. You know what I'm saying? And you ask yourself, were you sorry for that shit? You know what I'm saying? You know, because I guarantee you, everybody, you know, nobody on the face of this earth is perfect. Nobody, not the fucking Pope, nobody. You know, so we've all made mistakes. We've all made mistakes that we want to come back from. And that's basically what Will Smith is going through right now. But I'm glad that Denzel Washington actually articulated to everybody to basically, you know, watch who you pass judgment on, man, because people judge you too. You know, everybody gets judged by everybody. You know what I'm saying? So be careful. And I also want to shout out Kanye West. I want to shout out Kanye West for apparently last week, allegedly, last week he told his ex-wife Kim Kardashian that he was going to seek some help, some professional help. So I want to let you know that I support that 100%, because you've been out here in the streets looking crazy, dog, like crazy, my man, and we really, really, really are concerned for you, man. I mean, and like not just the hip hop community, but the entire community. Some people like, oh, you crazy, da da da, but people got to start to learn to understand when people have problems, man, when they got real problems, like actual problems, and not only being able to recognize those problems, but actually having compassion for those problems. You know what I'm saying? So, people need to have some compassion. That's all I'm saying. I try and be a compassionate person. Sometimes I'm kind of a dickhead, I mean, I might, crack some jokes at people or blah, blah, but then I'm very quick to take it back and say, well, you ain't, you paint your toenails, motherfucker, so, whatever it is, I try not to pass judgment on people, man, because, judge not unless ye be judged, right? Anyway, today's Dope Shit Award goes to Dr. Kismika. I really hope I'm saying her name right. Dr. Kismika Corbett. I'd like to give her the award today for what she has done in the medical field, man. She is a 36-year-old black female doctor from Hurdle Mills, North Carolina, y'all. That's right. And I love that. I love that. I love that. She did not let anything hold her down. I'm just going to tell you, the award goes to her because she actually led. She didn't participate on. She wasn't somebody who was on the team. She didn't go get coffee. She led the team that developed the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. She actually led the team, period. Point blank, period. So, she's incredibly smart. She has a PhD in microbiology and immunology. So right off the bat, she's smarter than anybody, just about anybody that I've ever known in my life. And, she's an assistant professor at Harvard Radcliffe Institute, and she's been there since June 2021. And, that is a huge feat for somebody to pull off. You know what I'm saying? A black woman. You know what? Let me not say that. Let me say, because that implies that, that black woman, but you do that, sister, because I know you can do. We should have been there. You know what I'm saying? People should already know that. You know what I'm saying? People should already know that. You know what I mean? Just an incredible academic talent, and just such a credit to the human race, for helping develop something that, potentially could save millions and millions of lives, So I love that. Hats off to you, Mrs. Corbett. And, I wish you continued success in the medical field and many more breakthroughs in the coming future. So today's Dope Shit Award goes to Dr. Kismika Corbett from Hurdle Mills, North Carolina. All right. On to the next thing. Today's earbuds. You know what I'm listening to? We just went through the Grammys. We just saw the Grammys. It was awesome. It was cool. There was a lot of good performances. I saw a lot of it. I saw most of it. I saw most of the Grammys. There were a lot of good performances. But I was watching the nominations for Album of the Year, and a gentleman, Jon Batiste. And it was just such a talented guy, man. Jon Batiste, he won Album of the Year with the album. The name of the album is called We Are. It won Album of the Year, like I said. And my wife and I, we sat here the other day. We flipped on YouTube, and we put on Jon Batiste. We put on his Album of the Year, We Are, and we sat and we listened to the entire thing. And I gotta say, man, it's pretty dope, man. It's really dope. Great music, very bluesy. Not what you would expect. When you look at the guy, it's not what you would expect. But, it is a pleasant and refreshing surprise, because he is extremely talented. I think he plays a few instruments. His voice is just outstanding, and he kind of touches on a lot of genres, like blues. I heard a heavy blues influence, rock and roll, hip hop, jazz, R&B. folk, like he covers the whole gamut. Very, very clean melodies, very, very, very clean melodies, and just a delight to listen to. So I didn't really pick any song particular that I liked because they were all they were just great, and I really kind of just listened to it while I built the podcast. So I didn't really jump up and say, oh well, what's the name of that track? I just kind of, just listened to the track organically just to see what it was about. And I was pleasantly surprised. And I really immediately went over to my Apple Music and purchased the album and downloaded. So if you have not heard any of this gentleman's music, his name is Jon Batiste, JonBatiste. He won the Album of the Year, and the album is called We Are. Please do yourself a favor, broaden your palate a little bit and step out on the ledge a little bit and go listen to this guy, man. You won't. It's something for everybody, even the hardcore hip hop heads and even the little country music heads that are out there. It's a little bit of something for everybody. So please do yourself a favor and go and support this guy. Okay. So, all right. This next segment is brought to you by Leafly. That's right, Leafly. That's my jam right there because my dog's over there just shaking around like she's got no. For those of you that don't know, I have a 160-pound Great Dane that just kind of stalks the shit out of me walking around the house, and then I have a 7-pound Chihuahua that stalks me for food, and then I have a Shih Tzu Bichon mix that is straight up Napoleon. And his name's Blaze, and all these people, all of them could actually benefit from the strain of the week. I'm telling you, they really could. But I'm gonna just go ahead and get to it. The strain of the week is Fruit of the Gods, dog or fog dog, and I love it. I love it. I think it's great. It is very dank. It is very dank. It's a sativa dominant hybrid. It is a little sticky. Now, somebody actually asked me to kind of go into a little bit of detail about some of the strains. Now, I'm someplace where it is not particularly it's not recreational in the state that I live in. It is medicinal, and that is what I use it for the medicinal properties. Now, with that being said, some of the things that people are asking me, like, oh, is it sticky? I'm sure it is, but what happens in the state that I'm in, is most of the cannabis that you get is dried. So, based on what I'm smelling, and before it is dried, it would be sticky and super dank. But I will say this. Some of the stuff that you get on the streets, they put in a tumbler, so they tumble it, and a lot of the kief falls off of it, so a lot of the potency leaves the buds. So you get what you think is dank, but a lot of it is scaled down because a lot of the kief has been tumbled out of it. But the good thing about going to the dispensary and having it having everything regulated and coming from the dispensary is that if it looks like it looks in the picture. You know what I'm saying? It looks exactly like it looks in the picture. So there is never any misconception like, hey, dog, this don't look like that, so on and so forth. It looks just like it looks in the picture. If you don't believe it, go check Leafly, and it will let you know. So the strain is Fruit of the Gods. And like I said, it's a sativa dominant hybrid. And the effects of it are pretty cool. It is, I'm a creative person, and it helps with that creativity. You should see my house, my living room. I do my podcast from the island in my kitchen. But my living room is currently full of all my audio equipment as well as all my video equipment. And it helps with creativity and writer's block and being able to think creatively. And I've been able to get some things worked out that I've been working on for quite some time, and because it's very imaginative. And it's also very energetic, so you don't get sleepy or anything like that, like an indica hybrid or anything like that. Like a heavy indica. So I was able to stay up. I didn't take any naps during the day. Sometimes, I used to take a lot of naps during the day. And I've basically kind of cut that out and used that time to be more productive and more focused on what I'm doing during the day, which brings me to the other point is it kind of helps you focus. Now everybody's like, it kind of blows your mind because it's come on, man, you're smoking weed, but it actually does. It helps you, because it helps you focus on the things that you wish to focus on. Like I'm a creative person, so I sat down and I focused it on my podcast, which is an outlet for creativity. I also produce music, so I sat down and was able to finish a couple of songs because I was more focused, and it actually it helped me finish a lot of things that I've been trying to get done. So I try and keep a little bit of it around anyway, just for that purpose, because I combine it with maybe a couple other strains that have similar properties, and I kind of make my own hybrid, and I get my the things that I really want to get done without losing any effectiveness. So. Other effects that it helps you with, or other symptoms that it helps with. Now I don't have cramps, not those kind of cramps, not any kind of menstrual cramps, but people have reported that it really, really does help with menstrual cramps. If you have like cramping, it really does alleviate that because it has a tendency. I guess it relaxes the muscles a little bit better. And I think this next, I think they all have this stress relief kind of across the board. So I think they all kind of relieve stress. So, and that was also reported that it relieved a great amount of stress. But this is one of the reasons that I really did like it. Like I said before, is I was in a car wreck where I totaled my car, and my back after that was just not the same. My back, my neck, all the way from my lower back all the way up to the top of my neck is just it's destroyed. So I have a lot of issues with spasms, and this is extremely good for muscle spasms. It really does. It does definitely relax your muscles. So I definitely recommend it for if you have any of these symptoms. Now, one thing people did report is that you did get some cotton mouth, which I did notice you did get a little bit of cotton mouth, but just make sure you have some water around or some sort of something to drink and keep yourself hydrated. So fruit of the gods, dog. That's what it is today. Strain of the week. All right, on to what's poppin' today. All right, so what is poppin' today? You know what's poppin' today? And it was poppin' yesterday. It was poppin' last week, last month, and it's been poppin' all year. The Great Resignation. That's right. Everybody is quitting. People are quitting their jobs. They are leaving without jobs. People are leaving without having a job. They're quitting all across the country. It's not like one state or one county or 2 or 3 states. It's everywhere, man. People are quitting, and it's crazy. I mean, like, who's quitting? And I'll tell you that too. You know who's quitting? Me. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people who told these people to take this job and shove it. Really. I mean, for many different reasons. So many corporate jobs. I mean, I had a corporate job. You know what I mean? To give you a little bit about my background, I am a food and beverage manager, or I am a former food and beverage manager. I don't know. Let's see how my podcast goes. Hopefully I won't have to go back to that. But I'm a former food and beverage manager, and I've worked at a great variety of places. I'm from New York City. I've worked at a lot of places in New York. I've worked in Miami Beach. I've worked at some really great places. I've worked in places with, dirt floors and places with marble floors and every place in between. And I've seen a lot of stuff. And what I have seen in a lot of years, I've seen a lot of people make a lot of money in this business. But I've also seen a lot of people get taken advantage of in this business, by the people that employ them. I've seen this where the establishment, they will book a party for $50,000, right? The establishment will book the party for $50,000, and they will add a 20% gratuity and tell the client 20% gratuity on $50,000. But the 2 or 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 of us that work it, bartenders and servers, they're making $200, for party pay. Where's the 20%? What happened to that? Where it went? It went to this guy's boat. That's exactly where it went to. It went to this guy's new condo, or his new fast car. That's where it went to. And it's happened and has been happening. It is it's detestable. I mean, especially in my business. I'll tell you a little bit about what kind of drove me to just basically throwing in the towel as far as this was concerned. And, not that I'll never do it again, but I always like to say, I've been saying recently, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, if I can't do it for myself, because doing it for other people has just ended up to be a lot of bullshit. It's always bullshit. And they give you, especially working for a corporation. I'd much rather, and that's one thing, I'd much rather work for a private individual than a corporation, because corporations, you really are just a number. Don't let them, fool you with this, we're family, family-oriented company, because they're not. They're a money-oriented company, and anybody who tells you otherwise is lying through their teeth and needs to be punched in their mouth. Simple as that. Because it really is just about the money. They do not care about what's going. Listen to this. Okay, this is what happened to me. I got a job at a place here where I live in Florida, and it's right on the beach. It was a great place, great atmosphere, wonderful atmosphere, right on the beach. Sunsets every day, large deck, live music. My dog is over there just going nuts. Large deck, live music. Wonderful place, good bands. Great staff. Horrible upper management. And I'll tell you why. It's because they put constraints on people when they don't need to, for the sake of money. People, you would be surprised of the things that you are not getting because they don't want to release the funds, because this guy's got a boat payment to make. You know what I'm saying? I worked at a place where the bar was infested with termites, and not only termites, but bees. And this is the same place I was just at, but bees also, termites and bees. The walk-in cooler where all the beer and all the stuff is stored had not been properly cleaned in, and this is not an exaggeration, over 20 years. It hadn't been cleaned. I went in there and cleaned it myself, but I didn't get any kind of, oh yeah, this was great, that's all I got, and everybody walked out. But and after I did it, it just got back to the same detestable, condition that it was in when I went and cleaned it in the first place. Any suggestion that you make, or that I made, maybe it was just me, any suggestion that I made was always met with, oh, well, maybe the budget, or, maybe we'll talk about it later, and never got around to it. It was just terrible. And I knew that there was a problem when I had been there a few months. Well, and the guy first, right off the bat, the guy who trained me, as soon as he trained, he just seemed like he was so elated to not have to come to this place anymore. And I couldn't understand it, because, like I said, it was right on the beach. It was great. But he didn't really say too much about it. But my last day of training, he came in and he was drunk. He was actually drunk. And he trained me for about 20 minutes or so, and then he left. And I worked that whole night by myself and had to close by myself. But I had closed a couple nights before, so I was pretty confident. But I didn't really realize why he was so adamant, or so not adamant, but he was so relieved really to leave this place, until I started working there. So the company the place was owned by a private individual, and it was bought by a corporation. And the corporation, it's a large corporation. They have, great properties all over the place. They've done some renovations to some of the properties, but not this one. It was just a hole in the wall, and nobody wanted to do anything. And it was just bad conditions. And it just got to the point where all the managers started quitting. It was within a month and a half, we had 8 managers quit. There were 8 managers that quit within a month and a half. It was ridiculous. And it started coming down to I was the only one left that was there. I had somehow, in the 9-10 months that I had been there, had become the veteran manager on campus, and I was looked at as this high-ranking official at this property. And I had only been there 10 months. But what was happening is, the work conditions were so bad, or so detestable, that nobody stayed. We had a chef that literally stayed for a week, 1 week. An executive chef came, got the job, started working out the menu, stayed for a week, left, poof, never saw him again. Servers that come in, they work for a couple of days, they turn around and leave. Front desk people that come in, they work for a day, maybe two, turn around and leave. Turnover rate is through the roof. And I'll tell you why they're quitting. I'll tell you why the turnover rate is the way that it is. And it's really quite simple. Is because you work these people to death. You work them hours and hours and hours, and you don't pay them shit. And you don't pay them shit. And you don't pay them shit. The cost of living is rising, and you want to pay them the exact same thing that you're paying them. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to get to work now. Gas is $4.80 in some places I've seen, and that affects these people. Groceries are going up in the grocery store also. That affects these people, but you want these people to make exactly the same money that you've been paying them because you want to continue to make your boat payment. Okay, but that's why motherfuckers is quitting on you. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't appreciate the help that you get from them. And so, I look at it like this. If I work a full-time 40-hour-a-week job, there should be no way I should have to get a second job in order to live in a decent enough neighborhood where I feel safe. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to have two jobs to live in a good neighborhood. But that's what it's getting to be like, though. You know what I'm saying? I got to have 2 and 3 jobs, or me and my wife got to make over X amount of dollars to really live in this great neighborhood. And even if we do, at one time, we made over, between the two of us, we made almost $145,000, $150,000 a year between the two of us, and we could not find anything. We couldn't find any place to rent, for one, but it was just to the point where everything was so expensive that even we just couldn't afford it in an area. Let me rephrase that. We could afford it, but it wouldn't have been in an area that I would have felt safe walking my children around in. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's happening like that around the country for everybody now. That's another episode. You know what I mean? The housing market, that's another episode. But what I'm saying, people are quitting is because they're not making the money at their jobs. These people are not paying them what they're worth. But people are starting to realize they're not really getting paid what they're worth, and they're quitting. You're not going to pay me? Then how about you do it? And I'm on board with that. You know what I'm saying? And they're quitting because their jobs are stressful. That's what this is. The reason I quit my job is because I went to the doctor because my back was hurting. And, when you get to the doctor, they ask you, they got a little questionnaire. They ask you, blah, 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 this, have you experienced that? Blah, blah, blah. Fine, whatever. I fill it out, and they turned it into the doctor. And when he came in, he said, hey, have you felt like this or felt like that? Is this going on? Blah, 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 blah. What kind of work do you do? And I told him what I did. He said, you are under a great amount of stress, and you have depression and anxiety. That is, you are depressed and you have a great amount of anxiety. Does this happen to you? Yeah. What about this? Does that happen? Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to we're going to prescribe you, this bupropion to help get you back on track and straighten up. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you no more than 6 hours a day. But I told him at least 8 because I'm an F&B manager. 6 hours a day, and that's it. 6 hours. That's it. 6 hours a day, and then you go home. You know what I'm saying? And you take this medication, and you go back, and you don't stress yourself out. So he released me for 8 hours a day, and I take it back to the company, and they say to me, well, we need to see if this is a reasonable accommodation. Well, a reasonable accommodation for what? If I can work 8 hours? You know what I'm saying? I thought the standard the standard workday was 8 hours. Well, the company, the food and beverage standard is 10 to 12 hours. I said, whose standard? I said, that's not my standard, because I've worked a few jobs where I've had to work 10 hours, but most of my jobs I've worked 8 hours. I'm working 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? And now I'm working 8 hours, but they had to see if they could reasonably accommodate that. And even still, as a food and beverage manager, yeah, I work 8 hours. But yeah, I've stayed later to help people out, and I do stay late to help people out. But if there's 3 managers here and there only needs to be 2, or really only needs to be 1, why keep us? Why do I need to be here? But that's what they're doing. They keep you. They want you here. So I have to be at your place for 10 hours, okay? And then I'm going to go to sleep for 8 hours. So that's 18 hours, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So in that day, I got 6 hours to run around, spend a little bit of time with my wife and my children, and that's just not enough time. You know what I'm saying? That's just not enough time. These places are taking people's lives, and they're not really giving them anything in return. Insurance, I mean, some of the people, unless you work full time, which they really ain't paying you worth a damn, unless you work full time, you know what I'm saying? You don't get insurance. And some people, even with their full-time wage, they can't afford to purchase the insurance from the company they work for. You know, which is, I mean, that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? I think that shit is bullshit right there. Really? I mean, if you work for a company, especially if you've been with this company for a while, that's just something that you should get. But I did work for a place recently that their health insurance was free. For the management team, their health insurance was free. I was like, you know what? That's dope. You know, that's a company that cares. But, you know, management comes down to another thing. You know what I mean? People are poor managers, or just, you know, they're hiring people that just don't have a clue about how to manage people, or, you know, how to manage a business, or how to show gratitude for the people that work for them. They just don't have any compassion, because the only thing they see is money. That's the only thing they see you as, is a dollar sign. They make you believe that, oh yeah, we're a family-oriented company and we you know, great amount of flexibility. And no, they don't. They tell you that you need to be flexible for the job. The job needs to be your first and foremost. Well, I'm sorry, man, because there's so many other things before this job. Because at the end of the day, with whatever little menu test, and this is a restaurant job, any little menu test that I take, as soon as I stop working here, that shit becomes null and void. That shit becomes bullshit in my head that's taking up space that I don't use anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because either I quit or got fired or whatever it is, but you've kept me away from my family. You know, I've had to study all this bullshit, and you kept me away from my family. You give me bullshit shifts on Monday, Tuesday nights, because the other servers that don't leave have been here for 20 years and they get all the best shifts. Or, you know, this server over here is banging this manager over there and they get the best shifts. And that's just the craziest shit in the world to me. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of it, people are suffering because they're not making the money to keep up with with the inflation of what's going on with the economy right now. They're just not making the money, and the companies don't want to pay them. Now they're trying to pay them because people aren't working. People aren't going to work. You know, I mean, I was told by one of my counterparts the other day, they still haven't found anybody to replace me. And I've been gone from that place at about a month. Nobody to replace me yet. Really? Why? Because they're not even paying the national average of what a restaurant manager should make. A full service restaurant manager, that is. They're not even paying them the national average. They're trying to squeak by, and the reasons why, so the people in the corporation can make their bonuses. And that's what it is. Cut your labor. Well, I need my 8 hours. I mean, I need my 40 hours a week to some of these people. Some of these people like, yo, D, I really need to make 40 hours. Well, you know, labor cost says, you know, I need to cut you. You know, I need to go ahead and send you home. You know what I'm saying? So this dude, you know, I really needed that extra hour, man. I'm going to miss my bills and so on and so forth. The company don't care about that. You need to cut this person. Or even still, sometimes the managers, I need to cut this person because if I show my labor is over X amount, I won't get my bonus. You know what I'm saying? And it just turns into a bunch of bullshit. So I said to myself, I said, you know what, man? I'm done with it. I'm done. Okay? I'm finished. You guys can keep it. You know what I'm saying? I told the dude, you know, I said, hey, man, you know, I'm getting married. It's just too much stress. It's crazy. How about you guys can go ahead and do it? You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm just gonna. He's if that's the route you want to take, absolutely, bro. I think because I'm done, man. I'm done with somebody like you telling me what I really need to be doing with my life, where I can't spend any time with my children. It took, you know, F&B manager. You know, I see my kids on the weekends. Now I can't, and I haven't for years because F&B manager, any F&B personnel, you know, you work on the weekends. I work every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Every Saturday, every Sunday. Well, my son's out of school on Saturday, and during the week, you know, he's in school. But at night, I'm working. I work at night, so I never see him during the day. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely don't see him at night. And on the weekends, I don't see him because, you know, I'm at work all day a lot. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even get him. So I was trying to get one Sunday where I could go get my son, and they didn't even want to give me that. So you basically telling me my son is not important enough. Well, I can't get 1 day off a week. I said, I give you guys 5 days a week. My son can't get one, and all they was doing is shrugging their shoulder. Well, we really need you, and it's a busy time, really. So basically, you're saying that's exactly what you're saying. That my son can't get 1 day. Oh well, we really need you, man, and you're very valuable. Well, my son's very valuable to me, man. You know what I'm saying, dude? And that's why people are quitting, because people are imposing on people's lives. They're making it harder and harder and harder to make a living and survive. Surviving is hard, man. Surviving is hard. Job shouldn't make it harder. I'm just saying. So what are people doing instead? What are people doing instead of going back to this job? You know what I'm saying? What are people doing instead of slaving to the rhythm 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, putting in all kinds of hours, man. People, they wear it like it's a badge of honor. I work 17 hours a day. Man, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm not working 17 hours for nobody no more that doesn't appreciate me, because my back is killing me. And none of those people that I work 17 hours for, I don't know any of those people now. I'm sitting at my house. You know what I'm saying? They don't call me. They don't wish me happy birthday. We don't go to the movies. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So why am I working 17 hours for somebody who really doesn't give a fuck about me? Period. That's why I work 8 in the door if I'm going to work. But I'm not going back. Like I said, I don't want to go back to that business unless I'm doing it for myself. So that leads me to, what are people doing instead? Now, I do know some people who did. They actually went and started, some people in my business. They went out and got themselves a little smoker and started themselves a little barbecue restaurant, and they're doing great. I thought about doing that myself for a little while, but there's some other things that I really do love. I love food, but I've done food, and it's really what but I'm, I really want to inform people. I want to talk to people, man. I really want to inform people. So what I did is I created a podcast, and this is it right here. Actually, I created another one, and it should be out soon. It is called Black Lives Don't Matter, and it's actually, the name is kind of deceiving. It's but it's actually about all the times, like in recent years, that a black life didn't matter, where it was just wrong that would happen to this person. And I want, and how people got away with it, or not getting away with it, or what we need to do to stand up against it. So it really is a different kind of podcast, and it's more on the serious side, but I love doing it because I love my people, and we all need to wake up. So All right, that is pretty much what's popping for the week, and time to move on to my next segment, which is relationship goals. Relationship goals. Hey, baby, are you around? She is not around. All right, well, here we go. Well, last week on this portion of my show, I said how I wanted my goal to be to have more fun. To have more fun out, with my wife, So last week was her birthday on the 5th. So I figured, what can I do to have fun? What can we do to really have fun? So what we did is we looked up all the places on her birthday that were on her birthday that we could go eat for free. So we made a very comprehensive list of places, starting with the International House of Pancakes. And just so you know, if you didn't know, if you go to the IHOP on your birthday, but you got to sign up before, but if you go to the IHOP on your birthday, you get a free stack of pancakes, up to the chocolate chip ones. You don't get, I don't think any of the fruit pancakes are included, but you do get a free stack of pancakes, and you're able to sit there and enjoy your pancakes for free. So we went to IHOP first and foremost, bright and early in the morning, and we sat there. We had a great conversation, talked to the girl. She was a really good server. She was new at it, but she was, a natural. She was very, very good at it, and she made us feel very comfortable. She went and she was unsure about what was happening, but she did go and confirm it with her manager, and we sat there. We enjoyed a great pancake breakfast at the IHOP. So then after that, we jumped back on the internet and figured out, okay, what else can we do? What else can we go? So right across the way, we happened to notice that there was a Starbucks. So over at Starbucks on your birthday, you get a free coffee or something, free something from Starbucks. And again, you have to sign up for their little mailing list, blah, 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 hoopla, blah, blah, blah. But so we went to Starbucks, and she grabbed a little bit of something. I didn't really get anything from Starbucks, but it was absolutely free. And also at IHOP, we got out of IHOP for $6. So then we were at we were pulling out of Starbucks, decided to make a quick, fast U-turn. We made the U-turn and saw Dunkin' Donuts. So we rode into Dunkin' Donuts and flashed a little ID. Today's my wife's birthday, so on and so forth. Got a free donut for her, and just because I was cool, they gave me a free one too. So a couple free donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. So jumped on the road for a little while. Had a visit with some Cindy 99 and kept riding for a little while. Then realized that who else? Oh, wait a minute. Denny's also had something for your birthday. So Denny's also, you get a free triple double slam for your birthday, which is really kind of cool, which comes with pancakes, a couple of eggs, some bacon, blah, 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 the whole breakfast rigmarole. But also they did for me for, I think it was $6.99. It was all you can eat pancakes, hash browns, and cheese eggs. So so now we got $13 into it, and we are stuffed. And but she had noticed that Fresh Market on your birthday has pieces of cake, so we drove all the way across town to Fresh Market, and she went in there. I don't even know how she got out of the car. And she went in there, grabbed her little Fresh Market piece of cake. We came home, kind of stared at it for a few minutes, and I'll tell you what, by 6 o'clock, we were out. Out like a light. So she did manage to tell me the next day that she had an absolute fabulous time and that she had so much fun running around, because it was kind of like a scavenger hunt. So it was really, really fun. We had a great time, and really for the whole day, including tip, which was great for the whole. And this is something good to do on your birthday with your lady, man. If it's your birthday coming up, this is great. For the whole day, we got out of the whole day for $20 plus tip. Including tip. So, and that was only because I had to eat. She didn't pay for anything. So it was a really inexpensive day, but still a very, very, very nice day. So this week's goals. Now, I've been on the fence as to what I want to try to pull off for this week's goals. I said I wanted to do more fun, but this week I think what I'm going to do is this. I want to share more of myself with her, more of the way that I feel about things, and try to help her understand how I feel or how I work, or, one of the things that we had always had issues with in our relationship, that sometimes if I'm upset, it doesn't seem like she cares that I'm upset, which, a lot of people, say, man, that's bullshit but, for some people it is very important. Like, I know everybody in every relationship, they want to be heard. I know they do. Everybody does. So what I've decided to do this week is figure out better ways to get her to relate and identify or put herself in my shoes in situations that may be, or just really have deeper conversations and try and understand each other better. And that's what we are really trying to do, is trying to understand each other better so that we can be better for each other. So that's all we're trying to do. So, all right, that's relationship goals. Look ahead. Next week, we are going to get down with the housing market, man. What the F is going on for real? So, and I want to thank everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, but I want to go ahead and thank everybody. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank my best friends, my producers, and everybody that's been involved with the Deron Harris podcast. And I want to thank the listener, for turning me on every time. So, again, thank you very much. Tune in next week. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the housing market, like I said. and I don't know, maybe a few other things. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Join me next week. Peace.